Everyone, it is now approximately 10:31 a.m. We'll get the governance committee meeting underway. Special counsel, may we please have the roll call?
Director Duplessis?
Present.
Director Barnes?
Here.
Director Sloss? Here. Director Guzman? Director Howard? Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll get right into our agenda. First, we have a discussion item, the 2024 Louisiana Legislature Regular Session Update, given to us by our new Chief of Staff, Renee Laparoli. Renee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I begin the legislative update, I want to give just make a comment about our governance. Danielle is going to be meeting with Mayor Cantrell soon about committee assignments, as we've got Chad coming on board. We'll have a vacancy that'll be announced March 27th. So
she generally talks to me about that, to President Pro Tem.
okay, well, I'll make sure. We do, well, we made Valerie in her office aware that it needs some attention, so we'll make sure to make the connection there.
Chad's been assigned.
Okay.
I'm sorry, baby.
All right, well.
But go ahead.
Okay.
We'll have that conversation on
Yeah.
the side with you first, to make sure we're all aligned. Yeah.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
The on the legislative agenda, I really wanted a discussion rather. I want to start with things that we know, which is that at the next meeting, well, we're going to request actually an April meeting of this committee for something for you to consider for vote, which is Act 393 of the 2023 legislative session that has to do with ADA compliance, and that is taking public comment up to a certain point before the meeting starts. And it's not interactive, it's not chat, but we'll take the comments online, or various ways actually. So we'll have that before you then. And also, I don't know if it's that act or another one. Well, I'm sorry. It has to do with the public comments, and it also addresses whether a board member needs accommodation. And then there's a component that I was just informed of yesterday that has to do with catastrophes that requires, I think, an executive order by the governor and all. But we'll have more information for you at the next meeting, and actually we'll be requesting action on that so we can implement it for our May meeting. The other thing I want to just mention is that at the January 10th meeting, or rather retreat of the Board of Directors, you all set out some legislative priorities. And one was implementing and conducting removal of lead and copper service lines. And another is stormwater management utility. And obviously, our capital outlay funds for the power complex. So I thought I would just mention those items.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
I'm sorry. At the board retreat,
Yeah.
we discussed, you all discussed legislative priorities. Number one with lead and copper service lines.
Yeah.
Number two, there was a discussion about a stormwater utility. Not that there's something being introduced right now in the legislature. These were your stated priorities.
So Renee,
I'm sorry, this was taken from the board retreat.
I think it's a stormwater fee.
Or utility fee, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A
We
stormwater,
got the utility.
we have a utility, I'm
we got the
sorry.
utility part.
A stormwater utility fee,
Got it.
service
Okay,
fee.
now I understand. My bad.
So, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, may I
Yes,
ask a
please.
question? So logistically, Renee, for the lead service line replacement program, there's a placeholder currently anywhere where we can use to introduce any legislation that we may need to help us with that?
I don't, not that I'm aware of,
Okay,
that there's a
so-
particular placeholder.
So would it be too late to introduce anything at this point?
I think that there is still, like, once the session starts, I think that members there's still an opportunity.
Okay,
Um,
because as
or obviously make an amendment on something related. And as I'll go over, there are so many bills related to our utility. Amendments are always an option.
So as many of you know, we're gonna need some help paving the way for a more effective and more successful lead service line replacement, meaning we need, one allowance to spend public dollars on the public fund donation or whatever law that precludes us from spending our money on replacing the private portion.
Yes.
The grants and the loans we're getting through SRF want us to do full replacement. So they're encouraging us and allowing us to use the money. But then there's a law, a standalone law that precludes us from spending public dollars on private property. So we don't know what trumps what. So we want to make sure that that issue is resolved. So we have no conflict with that. Another thing that we're asking for is some kind of more like at a state level awareness of lead service line. And I hate to use the word mandate, but maybe a soft mandate with no deadline or anything, just to put that responsibility on the private owner in general terms, which then makes our offer to them to do it for them at our expense using public dollars would become more attractive by comparison. So it's just a way to incentivize more yeses from the owners, because again, if we don't replace the entire line, we haven't solved the issue for that property. So replacing our half just is not like we're solving half the problem. It's just the lead still exists. And then, so I know you all know this, but we just need kind of some legislation to help us pave the way.
So just to be clear, this is not dealing with the access to public property. This is to deal with the funding to pay for the lead service line replacement.
Right.
Both,
So
right.
the two,
Or is it both?
Both things, huh?
well, both in a way. No matter what, we're gonna need a temporary limited easement or right of entry
Yes.
for individual properties
Okay.
each and every time. So this is not granting us access to property, because that would violate a lot of private property laws.
Mhm.
So you as a property owner will have to still say, yes, you may come on my property and replace my line.
Right.
One case at a time, yes.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear.
Just want to make sure you're aware of what we're trying to accomplish. Whether we're successful or not, that remains to be seen, but I think it's very logical.
The
and
board needs to
reasonable
have
approach.
some ability to be able to go into a neighborhood, a specific neighborhood at a specific time to replace the private side, because if we're working in a specific area, the engineering group will do this, but if we're working uptown in a specific area, we need to finish that area before we can go to the next area, right? So we don't want to be in a situation where we have one person on that street not saying we can access and finish that particular neighborhood before moving on, because it defeats the purpose of us actually going in. When we come in to do that line for that neighborhood, we need to replace everything on that private side. But I'll defer to Kassan on that.
It does seem to me that a provision needs to be made if I want to use my own plumber and have a way of certifying that
Yes.
it's done.
Yes.
So as part of that, I
For,
don't know if that needs to be in any kind of a law, actually.
well, if there's a mandate, then
You need a law that you have to have it done. Either we'll do it or you can have it done and bring the certification from the plumber, right?
yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Your piece, in theory, should be done by a plumber
No, no, but,
typically, but we're gonna do it for you. But you will have the option to do it on your own if you
right,
you
we just
choose.
make sure it's clear.
We'll make
Is there
sure.
a timeline that we need to?
Well, we're hoping
bring
that
this
to use
forward?
this legislative
legislative
session
session?
to get the yes.
Okay.
Because as you know, we're pursuing the SRF funding. We're gearing up through an RFQ to bring on board a team that will help us with the program. So I mean, we're setting all things, because October of this year is when actually the date of submitting the inventory is due. A plan for replacement is due. And then it's very likely that we'll have 10 years to replace all of our lines. It could be 50,000 or more. So it's just a mandate, but luckily it's funded mandate in part.
Anybody else have any questions on that one?
All right. So moving on to the session, the legislative session that started Monday, March 11th. There were 6 bills which were pre-filed. Generally, they're serving as placeholders to see the, I guess, the results of the work of the governor's task force on our agency. 3 of them have to do with billing. 1 has to do with governance. 1 has to do with civil service and our workforce, and 1 is an oversight bill. 1 senator filed 2, 1 House member filed 3, and another House member filed 1. But something that I've spoken to some of these members, and something that I see taking traction, particularly at the first public meeting of the task force, has to do with combining the drainage system. And it definitely leaned toward having the minor system, as you all know, currently managed by the Department of Public Works at the city, come over to the Sewage and Water Board. And there's a lot of discussion about funding and what it really costs, and there's information available about that, and numbers being worked up on that as well. That again, any of these amendments don't particularly talk about that, but rather these bills obviously can be amended.
Does the bill have a funding source? The transfer bill?
No, well, there isn't a transfer
Oh,
bill.
okay.
But I was asked by a state representative and even the task force that people want to know what the cost is. So there isn't a bill, and I can't predict if.
Okay, I thought there was a bill.
I'm sorry, no.
So I've gotten confused by the 6 bills.
I see. I did email them to each of you. That none of them specifically talks about combining the drainage system.
But does one of them allow for the consolidation to happen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Renee, what's the oversight bill?
The oversight one is
Is that the one that makes the
The,
city council, the directors?
no, it's
That's a good one.
the Harris Bill, SB 304, creates an oversight committee, which will consist of 5 members who shall advise, monitor, and report to the Senate on the progress of the board. So I would call the Hilferty's HB 569 more of a governance bill that talks about the city council members.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that is my report. So if you have any questions,
So you're an expert on how things work up there?
I am not.
don't
Just
think
enough to be
anybody-
dangerous.
She's resourceful enough, she knows who to.
But you
to
know what's
lean
going on though,
Yes.
right? I mean, I don't even know where to go. I don't even know.
Yeah,
what
no, I
that is.
know where to go, who to talk to, and just enough to be dangerous.
So getting,
Yeah.
my understanding, having talked to Stephanie Hilfrey, she said this is a placeholder. And so it's no big deal to get things changed once you decide what you want.
That's correct.
How many are Hilferty bills and who are the other ones?
3 are Hilferty, 1 is Representative Willard, 2 Senator Harris.
Okay. And Willard's is which?
Willard's has to do with billing. HB 525, any bill for services charged by the Sewage and Water Board, by the New Orleans Sewage and Water Board to a customer must reflect the charge for actual services provided and prohibit Sewage and Water Board from billing customers based on estimated services.
Imagine that. That means
Well,
that means we can't send out bills, half the bills every month.
The way it's set up
The way
today,
it's
yeah,
set up
we
now.
definitely would, I mean,
Okay, well, that's fun.
Did everyone get a copy of all of the bills? Did everyone get the email?
I don't know, I didn't look because I didn't know I was on governance.
I sent it to the entire board, so it is in your box.
I got
I
it.
can't find it now, but I know I got it.
Pardon?
we
sorry.
can, we can
I have
resend it, put it on top of your email, but yeah. we
All
should-
right.
Do we
I'll find
currently
it.
have a lobbyist?
We do have a lobbyist, and that's Paul Rainwater and his firm, so there are lobbyists
So
at the
weird.
state.
Is that a conflict?
There's a special master too to resolve the billing disputes,
That is
the last one.
Harris's Senate Bill 305.
Right.
Provides that a special master shall be appointed to resolve billing disputes.
I mean,
And Hilferty's 574 authorizes the City of New Orleans and Sewage and Water Board to enter into a contract with a law firm, accounting firm, business
Right.
consulting firm, or some combination to negotiate agreements with customers whose bills are in dispute.
So what do we do next? Like what?
I guess we watched.
We're keeping
So
an
what do we do?
eye
What do we
on
do
these
next?
bills. We're
Keep an
trying
eye
to, the best we can, educate everybody, you know, especially the authors, try to influence the outcomes, because none of them are final by any means, so we don't know what they're gonna look like, so hopefully we'll have some say in how they shape up to be. Some we will support, and some will flatly oppose. I mean, like the one, you can send a bill based on an estimate, that would, I mean, have such an adverse impact on our financial health, would be doomed.
So
mean-
is our strategy to like come up with that data, get that verbiage, get that information into the hands of the author and go on a campaign regarding its impact?
Yes.
Okay.
We do want to help them with their research.
And there's a general understanding that the task force is given the time to do their thing and recommendation and marry it with the placeholder bills. So nobody's acting on anything until the recommendations are final. That's what we were told.
And the task force is, as of next week, is
It's done.
done, right? So then there is no conflict with.
Correct.
But
But at least they would,
the fact that it doesn't have any more meetings doesn't mean it's done, I don't believe.
well, they
Well,
have
it's a 30 days. In the executive order, you all have 30 days, right?
to produce a list of recommendations.
So
That
when-
hopefully will set up the bills to be
Right,
pursued.
okay.
So 30 days would be after the first meeting or 30 days from when?
I'd have to look at the executive order.
Probably
I don't know
the
if it's
order
the
itself.
day the order was signed
Yeah.
typically, but I can confirm that for you shortly.
Because it all started really quickly, like the order
Yeah, I
was
know.
signed and then boom, they were meeting. So.
And on that subject, this week, tomorrow evening from 4 to 7, same location at the University Medical Center, the task force is meeting. It's a public meeting, and the 3 hours is reserved for public comment only. The first meeting was presentations. They allowed Ghassan to make a presentation. Members of the task force made presentations, as well as they have a 4-person technical advisory committee of engineers, mostly what I saw. And so there's a 3-minute time limit tomorrow night rather, for public comment. We will be there. In fact, we'll have customer services providing customer service representatives. We worked it out with the task force as well as the hospital. So outside of that meeting room, which is a really great facility if you haven't visited for future use, we're going to be there with laptops to resolve billing issues. So, pardon?
Yes, bring yours.
By all means.
Oh my God.
Bring yours.
As a model bill to be
Okay,
followed.
Oh.
So it sounds like once the task force resolves.
Yep.
Then do we need to meet? I mean, we can't wait a long time to meet again, right? I mean, if we want to like move forward with.
The governance committee?
Yeah.
Again,
You mentioned April, right?
please meet in April.
Yes.
Okay.
We will
Can we
need
get that scheduled right away so that?
Yeah.
Because we will need, obviously support and guidance from you in terms of what to support, what not to support.
Yeah.
Rather than just,
Why do they need placeholders? Why, you cannot introduce any bills once they start work? What's that
There
about?
are limits to that, yes. I
What?
mean,
That's the way it works?
absolutely.
They have to know ahead of time? what
They're
you wanna
filing
do?
deadlines, yeah.
Pre-filing deadlines.
Pre-filing deadlines. So these were all filed on March 1st.
Is that the deadline?
I don't know if that was the deadline, but they happened to be filed on the 1st.
Fun times.
well, I mean, it's times for,
I know.
the way I see it, opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
We may not agree with everything that comes out of it, but hopefully would be based on educated, interaction with us, and all the information we provided hopefully will guide them to the right places. So
Almost any change will be welcome.
almost, yeah.
All right, guys, any other comments?
No, I don't want to keep y'all from your other business. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks, Renee.
I appreciate it. All right, next on our agenda, we have executive session. I would like a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We are now entering into executive session. it's on my desk. It's plugged up. It died. That is exactly why I don't have it, because it is on my desk and it is.
There's always a piece of paper. Oh, we have to wait.
Yeah.
Oh, we're good. We can do our motion now.
All right, thank you so much. I'll entertain a motion to exit executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Being that there was no action items to discuss specifically in executive session, we will move now to the next section that deals with public comments.
No
Are
public
there any
comment.
Great, there are no public comments. With that, I'll
Move to adjourn.
entertain a motion to adjourn. Has been moved and properly second. All in favor?
All right.
Meeting
right.
adjourned.
All right, Tanika. we got
11:07.
reward for that one.
Where we at?
Can you ask this gentleman here to maybe help Janet?
All done. We good?
We're back?
All good.
Oh, yeah. We're done. Oh, yeah, good job.
Mm.
What are we doing? What are you saying?
They're gonna help Janet with her authentication.
Oh, IT stuff. Get away from that.
Not you.
I know better than all the retail stuff.